Yes, sir. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the fourth clinical meet. And today's meet is going to be very interesting, and I'm sure it will be a great learning experience for all of us. We have with us Dr. Bhupendra Palan, President, Academy of Hypnosis, and Professor Rakesh Jain, Vice President, Academy of Hypnosis, and other esteemed panel members as well. So today we are going to take two case studies. First case study would be presented by Lieutenant Colonel Rajesh Sharma, and he's going to present a case on past life regression. And this is also Mental Health Awareness Week. So the second presentation we are going to have is by psychologist Dr. Veena Panjwani, and she will speak about the acute need of mental health awareness in today's time. So without any delay, we'll start with the first presentation.
Colonel Ji, you are welcome. Rajesh Ji.
Thank you, sir. May I have your permission to start, sir?
Yes, sir. Please.
Please.
So to begin with, I thank you, Dr. Palan, sir, for allowing me to share a case study with you all. And I'm also thankful to Dr. Rakesh Jain for introducing me into this field. And what better day than a Indian Air Force Day? Today happens to be a Indian Air Force Day. And I thought to present a case involving a Air Force naval officer, not Air Force, naval officer. So this is a very moving case. I'm sure all of you will relate to it. So I'll just share the PPT with you, and you can see some details on the PPT. This PPT is about a case in which a naval officer was, he was under tremendous grief after his young son had died in a freak road accident. I'll just share the details after this, in which I have used ego strengthening and ego clarification, and also the means by which I've achieved is a past life regression therapy taught to me by Palan sir and by Dr. Rakesh Jain sir. So this case involves Captain INS. INS stands for Indian Naval Services. He was posted as faculty commander in one of the premier institutes in which we teach technical warfare to all the officers of Air Force, Navy, and Army. And this officer is a very senior ranking. Captain INS means equivalent to a selection grade, full colonel. And he was responsible for teaching naval tactics to all senior ranking officers. But and he is married. He now has one son. And initially he had two sons. One of the son was 23-year-old who died in a freak road accident. I'll just share the details after this. And this gentleman is about 50 years of age, 49, 50. It so happened that my commandant called me in his office and told me that there's one senior officer who's going through a very difficult phase, and he's not been coming to office, and his son had met with an accident. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
So my commandant, he was an air marshal. He called me in his office and told me that Rajesh, there's one gentleman. He's a naval faculty commander, and he stopped coming to office. His son had met with an accident and died. And after that, this officer is just not coming to office. If at all he turns up to office, he does not take any classes. He does not attend any functions. And there's something drastically wrong with this officer. I said, okay, sir. So, but I told him, sir, I can help this man only if he wants to be helped. And it so happened that the same day we had a party in the mess, and this officer was standing right next to me on a dining table. And he, out of nowhere, he asked me, "Can you help me? I've heard about you. Can you help me with something that I've been going through?" The commandant would have told him about me. That is how he spoke to me. So from mess only, we both got up, both in uniform. It happened 3 years back. We both got up from the dining table in the uniforms, went to my home. The only thing we removed were our shoes and belts and caps. We straight away went to a room and started our this thing. So the chief complaints was, after the demise of his son, this person was in a very sad state of affairs. And his grief resulted in him not being able to sleep. He did not know. He had no focus on what to do with life. It so happened that his son, who was 23 years of age, was going on a motorcycle. He met with an accident, and the whole accident was captured on a CCTV camera. And the vehicle that had hit him was a transit mixer. You would have seen big plant equipments. That was a truck. And ever since his son died, he became very sad, and there was no focus in his life, and he started being absent from the office. And for the reason of his career and too much worry about future progression, he never wanted to go to the military hospital for psychiatric evaluation. So, sir, when we went to our home, the first thing that I did, I will just share, I did only 3 sessions with him. And within 3 sessions, there was remarkable improvement in him. So I will just share the details of those 3 sessions, one after another. The goals that I had set were to give him some relief from this grief and make him able to sleep when he goes back. Only then he will be rejuvenated and motivated to come to the office and enhance his focus and restore his life. He was not able to do anything at home. He stopped driving also. Whenever he came to the office, he only came with a driver. So in first session, the only thing that I did was I through breathing and progressive muscle relaxation, I already knew about the history of his case. So I did not ask him too many questions about this thing. In fact, I allowed him. This session was, and the subsequent sessions were totally permissive. There was minimum direction from my side, minimum interaction from my side. And whatever interaction happened, 80% was from him and 20% was from me. I was only a facilitator into what was going to unfold. So, sorry. So we started with breathing awareness, normal breathing exercise, and a progressive muscle relaxation, and some visualization. Through visualization, we achieved a deeper state of trance and a state in which he was now open. And I checked the suggestibility also, by the way, and he was very suggestible. The good thing about this case is this gentleman was suggestible. In visualization, he was allowed to go to a place of his choice, and all his sensory organs, all his senses were involved. His ability to visualize things, his ability to smell, feel, his ability to taste anything. So all his senses were involved. And this was actually done only to increase her, expectancy from me. Because the only thing I've learned during the course of so many years in this line of hypnotherapy is that until we increase the expectancy of the client, the result, the surety of result coming is even half. If we increase the expectancy, only then we expect some results to come, some positive results to come. So in this first summary, I left it only here. And what came out was, in the first, this thing was, that this officer was feeling guilty for the death of his son, because he often discussed with his wife that because he allowed too much freedom to his son, he never stopped his son from going out or coming back. His son was coming back from somewhere at 3 o'clock in the morning. It is when he met with this accident and died. So somewhere he was feeling he was guilty. He was guilty. But when he got some relief from his, this state, when he could relax for some time through PMR, through breathing, through visualization, and ego strengthening was achieved in a very, very simple session, first session, and his expectations were, increased after first session. And I immediately called him very next day for the second session. We did not wait for a week or 10 days. I immediately called him for the second session. And now what I'm going to talk to you is, sir, is the turning point. Something happened, which even I am surprised, So, but I've also correlated what has happened now with the other theories also, which will be open for discussion after my presentation is through. Sir, in the second session and third session, I put him in a trance. His visualization was activated. Then I allowed him to think of a spiritual place, any spiritual place. I did not use the word religious or any other word. Any place in this world where you think you will find some spiritual power, some divine power. I did not mention any religion or no temple, no church, no use of. Manika, let me know when you are able to visualize any such place, when he was in trance. So he says कि he is in some kind of court somewhere. जैसे हिंदी में we call it दरबार, जैसे भगवान का दरबार हो. Okay. So I told him कि what I asked him कि what kind of darbar is this? Then he says कि it is a court of the god. मैंने कहा okay, court of the god. And what all do you see? कहता I see my son sitting there in clothes, just like any other god. One of the angels, जैसे देवता होते हैं, he is appearing just like my son. मैंने कहा okay. So do you think I'll go and talk to him? So he said कि okay, I'm going to him, but he is not recognizing me. He's only smiling at me as he is smiling at everyone. He's only smiling at me. मैंने कहा please look carefully. Does he look worried or not happy? He says no, he looks very happy. मैंने कहा okay. If he's looking happy, you also explore that area and see what is happening. So he says that they're discussing something about how this world should be run. मैंने कहा okay, and this person is happy. Okay. So here I terminated the second session. मैंने कहा okay. Here I gave him an indirect suggestion. I told him that there are many things that happen which are beyond our comprehension. All these things are, these all things happen under some universal pattern, some divine pattern, and we can only speculate about it. We will never know with surety what is going to happen. So with this, I close this and I asked him in a permissive way, please open your eyes whenever you feel you're comfortable. This was a very indirect session, and when this person opened his eyes, and in the course of session only, the catharsis happened. He started crying. All the things started melting out. So when he came out of the trance, I asked him, Manka, do you still feel guilty of your son's death? Because you always thought because you allowed your son to go out, and that is how he met with an accident. But when you see him in some different form only. So he says, no, I don't feel guilty anymore. Manka, then what do you feel? I feel as if some burden has been lifted off my chest. Okay. So I gave him a break of 2 days after this, and I again called him after 2 days. And this is when the third and final session happened, which completely got him out of this state. About 50 to 60% he had started becoming all right, and he started going to office after that. After second session, he was daily coming to office and driving himself. No driver, he would drive. He was living in Pune somewhere, and he would drive himself. So when after 3 days he turned up for third session, again I induced trance, and I again asked him, Maneka, this time allow yourself to go to any place of your choice, the way we do trance induction. And this time, the place you go should have some spiritual energy and connected with whatever is a pressing issue in your life. Okay, and you find, if you can find some divinity anywhere, you are welcome. But allow yourself to wander anywhere. Find if you can find anything. So he went back. Okay, I gave him total permission to go anywhere. I told him, I gave him an indirect suggestion that as we've seen in last session, that some things happen which are beyond our comprehension. They are worlds beyond this world. So why don't you try and explore something on your own? So this time, suddenly the gentleman says, he sees some wrestling match is happening, in which he is one of the wrestlers with different face, and there's another wrestler fighting with him. They both are fighting. They both are the representative of some different states, all different villages, but it is some old time, and they both are fighting. He says, the man I am wrestling with looks like my son. Though his face is different, he looks like my son. I said, okay, then what next? He said, we both are playing, and now I have defeated him. And he is sad because I have defeated him. He is sad. So then what? Then he's telling me he's so sad that he has to go back to his own village, to his own state, and there he will have to face his own king and tell them, give him answer here how he could lose to a wrestler of a different village. I said, okay. That means, I said, okay. I left it just like that only. Here I gave him an indirect suggestion. I used a line. I said, sometimes our karmas have a very big role in the times to come. Whatever we do today may have some telling effect on our tomorrow. And here I left it at that. I allowed him to come back to a waking state. And when he came back to a waking state, then I asked him, what did he learn from this session? And sir, here comes the real eye-opener. He says, now I realize I am connected with my son, not in this birth only, from many births. I see him as one of the angels in the court of God. I see him as one of my competitors, not related to me. But he was so sad that maybe he's come back. And now he's made me sad. Maybe our karmic connection is now equal. Sometime I made him very, very sad. Now he has made me very, very sad, and this thing is over. So with this, we finish this session. So now the point of discussion here is, okay, through PLRT, the question is not about the validation of past life, the truthfulness of past life. The question is, why do some people experience past life and some don't? In whatever experience I have, many people go through the experience of past life when they're hospitalized or when they're in some kind of session, hypnotic session. Through the past life, what my understanding is, their the ego function, which was given by Sigmund Freud, we are achieving some kind of ego justification, because this thing has happened, some adjustment. So we are actually achieving ego strengthening and ultimately ego purification through this PLRT. Okay, now comes why this experience of past life regression. Why this past life and how? So, sir, I would like those who have some background in psychology, they would have studied Carl Jung's theory of archetypes and collective unconscious. Sir, here the collective unconscious and archetypes. Archetype is the model of our personality, behaviors in a society, in a culture, passed on from generation to generation, from ancestors to descendants, and so on. So what do they pass? These are the memory traces. Okay, these are universal themes, and you would often see these themes are expressed in culture, art, drawing, literature. So in Indian context, the Indian people, because we are told by our grandparents, parents, ki karma is a very rampant theory in Indian this thing. Whether you read Gita or you read other scriptures, all every Facebook post is about karma these days. You go on Instagram, you will read about karma. That means somewhere this representation of karma is connecting us to past life. This is rampant in our Indian society. This is the reason some people go into past life. What is happening during past life? Their ego is strengthened through some ego justification. If this thing has happened with me, so the reason could have been this. So the transition between the past life and this life is the archetypical universal unconscious, collective unconscious. The collective unconscious would mean ki what I think unconsciously or subconsciously would be a part of my society, my culture. So that means 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 4,000 different people may experience same kind of unconscious motives. Sir, with this, I come to the conclusion. This is what my observation was, and this was what I could do after learning whatever little I know from Dr. Palan and Dr. Jain, sir. And if there's any questions, I would be happy to address them all. Thank you.
Right. So the topic is open for discussion. If somebody has some comment or question to Rajesh, sorry. Yeah, it is open for discussion. It was very interesting, Rajesh. And yeah, your this point I appreciate that in that regressed state, there is some justification and thereby ego strengthening happen.
Yes,
that point I appreciate. And when we are talking about some spiritual place and divinity and all, ego purification also happen.
Yes,
the expansion of the ego boundary.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Yeah. Anybody has any comment or question? Please, you're welcome. राकेश जी, if you are here, I would wish कि आप कुछ बताइए.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So without video, I'll be speaking today. Huh?
Yeah, no, please. Go ahead.
First, I'd like to congratulate Rajesh ji for helping this person in attaining his almost full functioning within 3 sessions. And in each session, he has worked in a progressive manner and defined manner. But what I'm seeing that the natural emotional reactions in such situations are anger, guilt feeling, and depression. These are usually seen in cases of when a father encounters such a tragic event of son. He certainly feels guilty, angry over oneself, and because of these two emotions feel depressed, which results in reduced functioning, both psychological and behavioral, including occupational functioning. So this explains the status of the person when he entered the therapy. And the entire process, I'm inclined to summarize in a way coping with the emotions, coping with the emotions of anger, guilt. These are two primary underlying emotions. And spiritual coping is, I think, is the best coping mechanism available to the ego to deal with this kind of situation. And in last two sessions, it is abundantly seen that full of spiritual coping got triggered through past life regression and other forms of intervention which were applied to him. And he was suggestible, which helped him to integrate and capitalize on this spiritual coping. So this is my observation. And once again, I'd like to thank and congratulate Rajesh ji for highlighting such a wonderful case where the role of spiritual coping, how do we promote this spiritual coping? These are the methods which can be used in a psychological manner to promote the coping. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you very much, sir. Very kind of you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Rakesh ji. Anybody else has got any comment or question?
So,
Maybe. Yeah, please.
while the presentation, so in the last slide was talking about collective unconsciousness and how some people will see similar kind of things. So I was a little curious if you could just expand on those points.
Okay. Okay, see, what happened? This psychoanalytical approach and the theories propounded by Sigmund Freud, they were focused too much on the sexuality of unconscious. So this is where Carl Jung was, though he was also a psychoanalytical scientist, he said that we all are part of a society. Okay. Then he thinks of archetypes. He talks of archetypes, basically 4 archetypes. Archetypes are what? The models of personality, behavior passed on from generation to generation. That means the total population in a particular area or in a particular society would have particular set of habits, particular set of, inclination towards something. I'll tell you. In some of the remote areas, the grandfathers teach the young children how to hunt. If you go to some islands in Indian subcontinent, which are very remote, or if you go to some remote areas in Madhya Pradesh, you will find that the complete community is trained in a particular manner. In army, we have caste regiments, we have Rajput regiment, we have Jat regiment, we have Gurkha regiment. Why? Because there's a belief that the same caste would display a particular set of characteristic traits, the traits which are required to fight and win a battle. So all these things are taught from seniors, from the ancestors to the descendants. They're passed on. And what happens? We have personal unconscious and universal unconscious. Universal unconscious would have the same memory traces, the same themes Okay, and how do we get these themes or these traces? By literature, by what we read. What is the literature that we read in Indian context? Gita, Bhagavad Gita. What else? Mahabharata. What else? Rama. All these scriptures, all these holy books will have stories and stories inside stories, connecting something with the other and coming out with the philosophy of karma. So this is what, even if we do not consciously talk about it, know about it, it is still there at the background. So this is what I mean, collective unconscious. This is what he meant. I hope.
Yeah. In a very simple way, you explained. Wonderful. Yes, Dr. Bala, your question.
Namaste.
Namaste, welcome.
Actually, I wanted to ask if the culture is influencing the visual imagery of the client in trance. Is it actually past life regression, or is it some imagery is having because of his cultural background?
Okay. When we visualize things, okay. Suppose you are from which place? You are from Gujarat.
I'm from Andhra Pradesh actually, but I'm
Okay.
in Mumbai.
Okay. You are from Andhra Pradesh. Do you see dreams?
Yeah, sometimes occasionally.
In what language do you see dreams?
I don't see in any language, just images. I just see images.
Okay.
I don't.
When you see
No
images,
language.
when you see your childhood, where do you see your childhood? In your native place or here?
Anywhere, because actually I was.
Think about
Actually,
it.
I'm been traveling all over India, so it's, I see it anywhere. It's not like
okay.
specific.
So next time when you see the dreams, you will find a pattern in them.
Okay.
Okay. So if you notice the pattern, you would understand what I mean by that. Okay. The reason we are referring to unconscious is this unconscious traces are not available to conscious mind, and it happens all by itself. This is where Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung come into play. What they say is the problem lies in unconscious motives.
Okay.
Dream is the language of your subconscious. Okay. If you interpret your dreams correctly, you would know what is bothering you or what is happening in your life. So the same way psychoanalysis is done. Not only culture, belief system, society, traditions, all these things are part of that archetypical philosophy.
Miss, what I wanted to ask, suppose in the
Her question was whether it was a real past life or he was imagining that.
Okay, sir.
Her question.
So here, sir, I answered this question earlier also. Actually, this is not important whether this past life is real or not. What is important is that experience.
Okay.
Okay. If you have that experience, so some ego justification is taking place, and you are achieving ego purification at the same time. Expansion of boundaries, as Dr. Palansar has said.
Thank you. Very nice case. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is not important to know whether it is real or not, but something is resolved, and that is what we want. Yeah, Rakesh, your comments on that, please.
Yes. So I'll be responding to this question a bit later. The very first thing which is coming to my mind is that the person was burdened by the guilt feeling, and he needed to overcome this massive guilt feeling. How he could have done, what resources, what kind of justification ego could have invoked to accomplish this goal. Again, I'm emphasizing that spiritual justifications, that spiritual coping is probably one of the best resource available to the ego to unburden the massive guilt feelings. So this is regarding continuation of my